प्राणादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं जानकीकान्तस्मरणं जय जय राम राम आंजनेय स्वामी की जय सद्गुरु महाराज की जय. By the divine grace of our beloved Guru Maharaj and the divine couple Madhuri Sakhi Sameda Premika Varga Thakurji, Shri Padmavati Nayika Sameda Shri Aishwarya Srinivasa Perumal, we are into the 5th day of our Ramayana Katha. Today we are going to start Ayodhya Kandam. Ayodhya Kandam describes the happenings in the city called Ayodhya. But the main theme of Ayodhya Kandam reflects on Ramachandra Prabhu's sacrifice. Bhagavan tells in Bhagavad Gita that Yagat Shantihi Anantaram. If you want to obtain or reach ultimate peace or happiness, then it can be obtained to the sacrifice. So sacrifice is Tyagam. So Ramachandra Prabhu's sacrifice is the most important thing in Ramayana, and that is glorified in Srimad Bhagavatam also when Shukacharya wants to start about Sri Ramayanam, Ramachandra Prabhu's Charitram, to Parikshit. The first thing he mentions is Ramachandra Prabhu's sacrifice. He says Guruvarthe Tyakta Rajya. So for the sake of his father, in order to follow his father's words, that is Pitru Vakya Paripalanam, Ramachandra Prabhu leaves out the kingdom and goes to the forest. So Guru Varthe, Guru has many meanings, but Guru, primary meaning is Guru means father. And Ramachandra Prabhu also relates to this when he is speaking to Kaikeyi Devi. He is mentioning that Nrupenacha Hitenacha Niyukto Guruna Pitra Nrupenacha Hitenacha. So I am always ready to do whatever my father needs me to do and whatever is his instruction. Further, I want to be such a child who will just by knowing what the father's intentions are, along with that itself I need to do the activities. So that is what Ramachandra Prabhu shows and he tries to be also. So the characteristics of a child is defined in Bhagavatam. It says Uttamaha Chintitah Kuryat Proktakari tu Madhyamaha Adamo Ashraddhaya Kuryat Akarto Charitam Pituhu. The shlokam explains the relationship between a child and a father. So Uttamaha Chintitah Kuryat. So the Uttama child, superior child or the great child is a person who understands what the father thinks itself it seems. So he does the activities if what is there in the father's thought. So appa idha nanaikkararna he will execute it. So that is Uttama Putra. And for that if we need an example, that is Ramachandra Prabhu, and in Mahabharatam we can take Bhishma. So Uttamaha Chintitah Kuryat Proktakaritu Madhyamaha. Even after father telling us to do that this should be done, if we follow it properly, he is second category, Proktakaritu Madhyamaha. And third one is Adhamaha Ashraddhaya Kuryat. Ayo solitare, he has told me to do it, so I have to do it. So there is no other go in that. If a child does what the father instructs in such a way, it is Adhamaha. He is the third category, and there is no fourth category at all. So Adhamaha Ashraddhaya Kuryat Akarto Charitam Pituhu. The least, whether he can be called as a child or not, I don't know. So he doesn't mention that. This just tells that Akarto Charitam Pituhu. So if a child, if he doesn't follow the father's instructions, how can he be called as a child? So that is how the relationship between a father and a child is described, and the Uttama child will be looking at as a relationship between a guru and his disciple. So that is why Ramachandra Prabhu says Niyukto Guruna Pitra. So the first adjective that he gives for his father is his guru. Niyukto Guruna Pitra Nrupenacha Hitenacha. So first guru, then he is my father. Niyukto Guruna Pitra Nrupena. So third, he is my king, and fourth, he always think about my well-being. So there are four categories, there are four qualities that Ramachandra Prabhu mentioned about his father, and the first one is Guru, because we tend to not follow if it is our father or if it is the king or if it is the person who thinks about our well-being, but if it is the Guru, then we will definitely follow it. So Ramachandra Prabhu mentions it first. So that's why if you see Bhagavatam starts with Guru Varthe Tyakta Rajya. So the important thing in Ramayanam is Ramachandra Prabhu's sacrifice. And the reason for Ramachandra Prabhu doing sacrifice is though it is fulfilling his father's promise, but if you see in the larger picture, he is doing it for Satyam, he is doing it for Dharma. So these are the two things which makes Ramachandra Prabhu to do this sacrifice. And if you see one more thing, he didn't know that this will happen the before day. So it was not planned one. Akasmata, it happened. And he immediately accepted it and went. So there are people who do sacrifice and they will always, earlier they would have planned. So if it happens in this way, if the things follow in this way, then I should be executing this plan. So if in such a way if you do a sacrifice, then that is also not great. So the sacrifice should be done in such a situation where you don't know anything about it. So that moment it has just happened and Ramachandra Prabhu accepts it happily. He doesn't say that, oh, I have to go to the forest. He doesn't mention that. Before the day when he was told that he will be coronated, he accepted that also. So he didn't say that I am detached from the entire world, so whether it is coronation or not, sama, dukkha, sukha, kshami, those things are not there for Ramachandra Prabhu. So he doesn't, it is there. But the priority that is given to the things here is that whether it is the Rajyam, whether it is the kingdom, he accepts it. And he is ready to rule the kingdom also. And the same moment it is told that you should go to the forest, and that state also is accepted. So that being the case, that shows his greatness. So with that we can easily understand his samadharma. He is equal to both, whether it is sukham or dukkham. And if you see from the point of view of Ramachandra Prabhu, whether it is the kingdom or whether it is the forest, it is only sukham for him. We only categorize these things as sukham and these things as dukkham and say that whenever sukham comes, I am happy with that, and whenever any issues or problems come, I am in a sorrow state. So everything is defined by us. But if you see from the state of Ramachandra Prabhu, everything is same for him. And that is why Valmiki Bhagavan mentions Navanam Gantu Kamasya Yajatascha Vasundharam Sarvalokadikasyeha Lakshyate Chitra Vikriya. So whether it is good or bad, whether it is papam or punyam, whether it is a curse or a boon, the thing that affects us is our mind. So if our mind is stable and if our mind is steady, whether it is dukkham or sukham, then whatever may be the outcome or whatever may be the situation, nothing will affect us. So this shows that Ramachandra Prabhu has controlled his mind. So na vanam gantu kamasya, whether he is going to the forest, tyajatascha vasundhara, even if he sacrifices the entire kingdom, nothing is going to affect him. So that being the case, that shows Ramachandra Prabhu's personality. But if you see him as a jnani, or if you see him as such a person who sees everything equal, who sees everything as same, then we can't relish the qualities of Ramachandra Prabhu for which he did the sacrifice. So if you see as a dharmatma, if you see him as a righteous person, if you see him as a satyasanta, then only we can understand the sacrifice that he has done. And if you see in Itihasas or in Puranas or in Upanishads, there are several people who have done sacrifices. So sacrifices are done by lot of people. But if you see in Ramayanam, Ramachandra Prabhu's sacrifice is alone glorified. So if you see the number of years that Ramachandra Prabhu lived in this world, it is 11,000 years. So Dashavarsha Sahasrani, Dashavarsha Shatani cha. But if you see Valmiki Ramayana, it is concentrating on the 14 years Vanavasa of Ramachandra Prabhu. Similarly is Kamba, similarly is Tulsi, similarly is all the Alvars Pausuram, similarly is all Bhaktas Kirtanas, similarly is the case of Tyagaraja Swami, whoever it may be, whenever they like or whether they want to write about Ramachandra Prabhu's Charitram, they mention this 14 years of his stay in the forest. Why that is given greater importance? Because when Ramachandra Prabhu sacrifice, why Ramachandra Prabhu's sacrifice is glorified? Because even if the sacrifice is so small, that should be credited more than several years of enjoying all the pleasures. So if Ramachandra Prabhu enjoyed more than 10,000 years, he was the king, he ruled the kingdom. But if you see in Ramayana, those portions are very minimal. Those portions are very less. It is just told that Ramachandra Prabhu is ruling the kingdom and it is Ramarajyam from that day onwards. But the 14 years of Ramachandra Prabhu's sacrifice is given importance because only sacrifice will be beneficial for the entire mankind. Only sacrifice will be beneficial for all the people. And only this sacrifice made all other people in Ramayana to do their sacrifice. So there are all the people have done sacrifice. So if you see Sita Mata, sacrifice is so great. If you see Lakshmana's sacrifice, he has left his wife, he has left his family, he has left his, he can be in the kingdom, right? He is not been asked to go for the Vanavasa. Though if you see for Sita Mata, it is her duty and it is her dharma to go with Ramachandra Prabhu. When Kausalya is asking Ramachandra Prabhu that I will follow you to the forest, Ramachandra Prabhu consoles and tells her the dharma that you should stay with your husband, that is Dasharatha, you should no way leave him and come. And similarly, if you see that in the case of Sita Devi, she should definitely follow Ramachandra Prabhu. And that is also mentioned by Sita Devi when she is speaking to Anasuya Devi in the forest. So what is great that I am following Ramachandra Prabhu, the entire Ayodhya people followed him, that is only great because I have a relationship with him. I am his wife. So that being the case, how can I leave and come in? So that being the case, me following him is not so great. But the entire people of Ayodhya left their families, left all their wealth, left all their pleasures, and they were interested in following Ramachandra Prabhu. That is so great. So that is what Sita Devi also mentioned. So if you see in that case, Lakshmana, he doing his sacrifice is so great. Bharata following Ramachandra Prabhu's instruction and staying in Ayodhya is a sacrifice. Because he is interested in going with Ramachandra Prabhu, being with Ramachandra Prabhu. But he sacrificed for Ramachandra Prabhu and he is staying in Ayodhya. So all the people of Ayodhya want to go with Ramachandra Prabhu, but they stay back. So if you see each and every character, if you see Sugriva saying, I will give you all my Vanara Sena to you and you are the leader, you should take care of it. And what instruction you give, they will be following. So that being the case, Anjaneya Swami, without anything in requirement or any need, he does great service to Ramachandra Prabhu. So whomever it may be, all the people in Ramayana are doing great sacrifice. But that is happening because of Ramachandra Prabhu's sacrifice. He has done it first. So his sacrifice is really important, and that is for Dharma and Satyam. And if you see in Puranas, then we can see Dharmaputra has also done a sacrifice. He has also left his kingdom and went to the forest and he stayed in the forest for 13 years. So if you see that, the outcome of why did he left that kingdom, because he played a game of dice. Because of that he lost. That is not for Dharma. Though he is Dharmaputra, though he followed what should be done in the 13 years as instructed by Duryodhana, but the reason for that sacrifice is a game of dice. So it is Sudatam and it is not Dharmamata. Similarly, if you see in Nala Charitram, Nala also played a game of dice and he lost and he went to the forest. And if you see in other cases, like in the Charitram of Yajnavalkya Maharishi, he also left out all the wealth and he went to the forest to do tapas. And that is not for the benefit of the entire mankind, that is for his personal benefit. Though he has left off everything, he has detached from everything and he goes to the forest and he does tapas. Finally he realizes the Atman, but that is for his own benefit. Likewise, similarly, if you see in the case of Siddhartha Buddha, he also left the kingdom because of he saw three things: death, old age and diseased people. And immediately seeing it, he got fear and he left the kingdom. And he also went to the forest and he realized, and that is for his own benefit. And that is also considered great, but not great as Ramachandra Prabhu's sacrifice, because it is not for his personal benefit, it is not for something he is going to gain out of it, it is entirely for Dharma and Satyam. So that being the case, Ramachandra Prabhu's sacrifice is credited so great. And that happens in Ayodhya Kandam. So Ayodhya Kandam is, we are starting Ayodhya Kandam. Gachata matulakulam bharatena tadanagha shatrughno nitya shatrughnaha Nitaha Priti Puraskritaha. This is the first slokam of Ayodhya Kandam. So after Ramachandra Prabhu's wedding with Sita Devi, after Sita Kalyanam, they return back to Ayodhya and they are staying in Ayodhya for 12 years. Ramachandra Prabhu and Sita Devi, they are following Grihastha Dharma and they are living a happy and content life. That being the case, and that time Bharata and Shatrughna are taken by Yudhajit, who is the uncle of Bharata, and he is taken to Kaikeya Desha. And Dasharatha also sends them. Why? Because they are Rajakumara, they are princes. So that being the case, so whether they stay in Ayodhya or whether they stay in Kaikeya Desha, whatever it may be, they are going to live a luxurious life. So inge kolanda irundha anga kolanda irundha. So that being the case, Dasharatha sent them there. But the shlokam tells the greatness of Shatrughna. So whenever we speak about Shatrughna, we say that he is a character with less importance in Ramayana. And if you see this shlokam glorifies Shatrughna. It says Gachata Matulakulam Bharatena Tada Anagha. So this adjective called Anagha is for Shatrughna. And it is mentioned that he is a person who doesn't have any sins. And what is that sin he doesn't have? If you see, Periyavachan Pillai, who does Vyakyanam for this shloka, says that he doesn't have the sin called Rama Bhakti. He doesn't have Rama Bhakti, it seems. And why he is mentioning as that as a sin for him? Because if he had Rama Bhakti, then he is destined to do seva to Bharata. And if he is destined to do that service, and if he has Rama Bhakti, then he won't be able to do Bharata's Kainkaryam properly. Similarly, if he is staying with Bharata, he will only be thinking about Ramachandra Prabhu being along with Bharata. So, serving Ramachandra Prabhu also would not be possible for him. That will also be an issue for him. Similarly, staying with Bharata also will not be good for him because he is not interested in serving him. So, that being the case, it is mentioned that he doesn't have this thing called Rama Bhakti. Because for him, Bharata Bhakti is really important. So, Ramayanam beautifully shows 4 characters. So Ramachandra Prabhu, if you see him as Bhagavan, then Lakshmana gets the is most fortunate for doing service to Ramachandra Prabhu. If you see Bharata is a Bhakta. And Bharata follows Bhagavan's instructions and he stays in Ayodhya itself after Ramachandra Prabhu instructing him. And if you see Lakshmana he fights with Ramachandra Prabhu and comes with him into the forest. But Bharata follows the instructions, so he is a Bhakta. And if you see Shatrughna is saying Bharata, that Bhakta of Ramachandra Prabhu. So if you see in Bhagavatam says that Tava Dasanu Daso Bhavitasmi Bhuyaha. So that is what Shatrughna shows. If you are able to serve Bhagavan, then Lakshmana shows the service for Bhagavan. If you see Shatrughna gets the opportunity to serve a Bhagavata, that is a Bhakta of Bhagavan. So that is how the 4 characters are shown. So Shatrughna is mentioned as Bharatena Tada Anagha. He doesn't have a sin called Rama Bhakti. So Shatrughno Nitya Shatrughnaha Nitaha Priti Puraskritaha. So he is following Bharata. It's like how Lakshmana follows Ramachandra Prabhu even if he is not instructed. So if you see, when Vishwamitra asked only for Ramachandra Prabhu, but Lakshmana followed him. Similarly, Bharata was alone called for KK Desham, it seems. But Shatrughna followed him, Nitaha Priti Puraskritaha. Though Bharata and Shatrughna were staying there for 12 years, all their thoughts were in Ayodhya. So it is mentioned as Tatrapi Nivasantau Tau Tarpyamanau Cha Kamataha Bhratarau Smaratam Virau Vriddham Dasharatham Drupam. Though Bharata was in KK Desham enjoying all the pleasures there, living a luxurious life, day by day he became slim, it seems, Bharata and Shatrughna. Because they couldn't bear the separation of Ramachandra Prabhu and their father Dasharatha. So, Bhratarau Smaratam Virau Vriddham Dasharatham Drupam. So, always Bharata would be mentioning to Shatrughna that we are wasting our time staying in their KK Desha. Because if we were there in Ayodhya, then we could be of help to Ramachandra Prabhu or Lakshmana or our father. If Ramachandra Prabhu takes care of all the duties of the king or the kingdom, then we could take care of the father. Similarly, if Ramachandra Prabhu takes care of the father, then we could take care of the happenings in the kingdom. So that being the case, we are just wasting our time here. So this is what he used to speak with Shatrughna, and he always thinks about Rama and Lakshmana and his father. So Tatrapi Nivasantau Tarpyamanau Cha Kamataha. So they are becoming slim day by day. Bhratarau Smaratam Virau Vriddham Dasharatham Drupam. So now we should think about Dasharatha. So is he content with having only Rama and Lakshmana next to him and not Bharata and Shatrughna? That is not so, it seems. He has the same love for Lakshmana, he has the same love for Bharata and Shatrughna. But it is mentioned as Chatvara Iva Bahavaha. So all the 4 children are like 4 hands for him, it seems. But he has a separate love. He has a greater love towards Ramachandra Prabhu, and the reason for that is mentioned as Sahidevairudirnasya Ravanasya Vadarchivihi Archito Manushe Loke Jajne Vishnu Sanatanaha. That for that we don't need to go and ask Dasharatha, it seems. The entire world is having so much love towards Ramachandra Prabhu. Not alone Dasharatha. You see, all the people are ready to sacrifice their life when Ramachandra Prabhu is going to the forest. And when Ramachandra Prabhu leaves them in the forest on the banks of river Tamasa, they are ready to live their life. And some old people there, they mention that Ramachandra Prabhu will be returning in 14 years. So if you are not alive, then you won't be able to see Ramachandra Prabhu's coronation. So that they are holding their life and waiting for 14 years. So that being the case, not alone Dasharatha, not alone Kausalya, entire people in Ayodhya, and after Ramachandra Prabhu goes to the forest, there are several people joining his Bhakta big parivar. So if you see in Kamba Ramayanam, it is mentioned as Guhanoda Aivaravam, Vibhishanoda Eluvaravam, Sugriwanoda Aruvaravam. So his Bhakta Goshti keeps on increasing. So that is why Ramachandra Prabhu has gone to the forest. So he needs to gather his big group of Bhaktas who are staying in different places. So in order to give them darshan and in order to accept them into his alliance, he has gone to the forest, it seems. So that is also a Rasokti mentioning why Ramachandra Prabhu went to the forest, leaving the kingdom. For Bhagavan, whether it is kingdom or pleasures, it is important thing is his bhaktas. And the important bhakta is Ramayana Mahamala Ratnam Vande Anilatmaja. So for the big garland of Ramayanam, so the center gem is Anjaneya Swami. So only if Ramachandra Prabhu goes to the forest, he will get the association of Anjaneya Swami. For that only he went, it seems. So that being the case, he has a big Bhakta group who are always fond of him, who are always show supreme love towards him and supreme bhakti towards him. And the reason for that is Jagye Vishnuhu Sanatana. It is told that Ramachandra Prabhu is Sakshat Bhagavan. And why it is mentioned in the beginning of Ayodhya Kandam? Because all the devas are expecting the elimination of Ravana. And for that to happen, Ramachandra Prabhu should go to the forest. So why that is not happening yet is what their concern. So that is mentioned as Jagye Vishnuhu Sanatanaha. But even if he is Bhagavan, then that alone will not be enough to show our love to him. So we are mentioning about Rama. So there is another Rama also. So Parasurama. If you take Parasurama, then how many of the people or how many of the bhaktas love Parasurama? So if you have that question, I think there won't be any answer at all. And he is always having an axe in his hand. So that being the case, to show love to Bhagavan also, he needs great qualities. So the qualities decides how we show our love. So that is why Ramachandra Prabhu is so great because of his gunas and because of his qualities, and that makes all the people to show their love and show their interest, and they are really fond of Ramachandra Prabhu. So that being the case, this is the way the people are staying in Ayodhya, Ramachandra Prabhu and Lakshmana and Bharata and Shatrugna and KK Desa. And one day Dasharatha decides that he should step down from the king and he should coronate his son. And he gathers all the important people in the kingdom, so all the ministers and all the rishis and all the authority deciding people, all the people are being called, and he is conducting a meeting there. And in order to mention that I am going to step down, that is beautifully explained by Dasharatha. So Dasharatha is a big poet, I think. So he explains that beautifully. He says, Idam Shariram Kritsnasya Lokasya Charatahitam Pandurasyata Patrasya Chayayam Jaritam Maya. For 60,000 years Dasharatha is there. And I think he was coronated at his 18 or 20 years old. So that being the case, from that day onwards he has been ruling, and only today he has identified that all his hair has gone white, it seems. So after 60,000 years he has identified, and he gives a reason for that. My hairs are not white, they are black only, but since I have been sitting for 60,000 years under this white umbrella, so that is the reason why my head has gone, my hair has gone black, white it seems. Idam Shariram Kritsnasya Lokasya Charatahitam. And the only thing that I was considering and concentrating was the welfare of my people. Lokasya Charatahitam Pandurasya Atapatrasya. Atapatra means umbrella. So Pandurasya means this white umbrella that has been Venchatra Kodai, below which I am sitting. That is the reason why my hair has turned white. Pandurasya Atapatrasya Chayayam Jaritam Maya Prapya Varsha Sahasrani Bahuni Ayumshi Jivataha. So for this many years I have been ruling the kingdom, I have been taking care of my people, I have been following Dharma, making all the people to follow Dharma and Satyam. So I decide to take a voluntary retirement. So no one is going to make Dasharatha step down or ask Dasharatha to step down. So he has decided it today that I will get a voluntary retirement. He says, Jirnasyasya sharirasya Vishrantim abhirochaye. So Jirnasyasya, since I am getting old, so Vishrantim abhirochaye, I have decided to take rest now. And because of that, I should be crowning my child. So not that he is interested to crown Ramachandra Prabhu. It is there, but he is mentioning that he is getting old. Otherwise, if he is young and if he is capable, he will even rule further, it seems. And he has a proper child to rule the kingdom there. So earlier it was not there, for which he was expecting and he was praying and he was doing all the dharmas. And now since he has got Ramachandra Prabhu, so he has decided that he will step down and he will make Ramachandra Prabhu the king. So immediately he asks all the people who are present there. So if you see, Dasharatha is a monarch, he is a king. So automatically the kingdom will go to his son. But even at that case, he is asking all the people in the kingdom so that it becomes a democracy there. So he is asking the people whether you are interested in if I make Ramachandra Prabhu the king, are you okay with it? Is it okay for you? So he is asking all the people there, which is not at all required, which is not at all needed. But he is asking, he is questioning. So, and what will all the people say? So immediately they are shouting in the sabha itself, Ichha mohi mahabagum rahuviram mahabalam Gajena mahata ayantam ramam chatra vivananam. So immediately they are shouting, Jai, 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 yes, we are ready for Ramachandra Prabhu's coronation. But in the sabha, if you see, they should not behave like that. So sabha has a rules, the way in which they should conduct themselves. So if you see nowadays, all the people are fighting inside the parliament itself, right? That doesn't happen there, that shouldn't happen there. So that being the case, all the people are shouting. So immediately when they shout, Dasharatha is also really happy, and he is telling that I think you are all expecting when this old man will step down. Immediately there was pin drop silence there. Only they realize, oh, we have overreacted, we have overacted in our enthusiasm. And they say that it is not so, it is not that you should step down, but we all want Ramachandra Prabhu to be crowned the king. So Dasharatha is really happy, but he is playing with his own people. And he asked them, why are you so interested for Ramachandra Prabhu to become the king? And immediately they get the opportunity to speak their Ramayana. So each individual has their own Ramayana. Because Ramachandra Prabhu has Ellarodi Sendu Padagi, he has been so free and easy with all the people. So each and every people in Ayodhya have their own Ramayana. So immediately they start Bahavo Nrupa Kalyana Gunaha Putrasya Santide Gunan Gunavato Deva Devakalpasya Dhimataha Priyan Anandanan Kritsnan Pravakshyamodya Tam Shunu. So immediately they are telling to Dasharatha, so we are going to start our Ramayana. And the interest that we have for Ramachandra Prabhu is because of his qualities, his gunas. And they are so great. Gunan Gunavato Deva. So if you want to compare with somebody how Ramachandra Prabhu's qualities and gunas are, then you should compare only with all the Devatas it seems. So Gunan Gunavato Deva Deva Kalpasya Dhimataha, that. And I think even Ramachandra Prabhu has greater qualities than all the Devatas. So generally if you want a comparison with the qualities, then all other people will fail the test when it comes with Ramachandra Prabhu, because they will have qualities 10% of Ramachandra Prabhu or 20% of Ramachandra Prabhu. So the entire complete gunas are present only with Ramachandra Prabhu. So that is why if you see in Bhagavatam, Shukacharya is mentioning it. He says Adhika Samya Vimukta Dhamnaha. So there is no one who is equivalent to or greater than Ramachandra Prabhu. And this is taken by Tyagaraja Swami. When he is speaking about the greatness of Ramachandra Prabhu, he should be mentioning that all the Rama Bhaktas, if they are speaking great about Ramachandra Prabhu, that is what is there in that. Only if a Krishna Bhakta like Shuka speaks about the greatness of Ramachandra Prabhu, he is immediately picking that. He says Sukanutaya Dinabandave. So Shuka is prostrating before Ramachandra Prabhu, so he is mentioning that. So Ramachandra's qualities are so great, and immediately all the people start to speak about his qualities. So first quality that they mention is Adosha Darshi. He does not see faults in anybody. So then you should not consider that he doesn't know it. He knows everything. In spite of that, he will not see the faults that is present in them. And swadosha paradosha with. So he knows what are his faults also, and he knows what are other people's faults also. So if you come and say that Ramchandra Prabhu has this fault, then that is not at all available at all. But even if you mention it, he will be accepting it. Oh, okay, this is there in me, then I will change it. So that is the way in which he speaks, or that is the way in which he renders with all other people in the kingdom. So swadosha paradosha with. And they say a beautiful quality. Katanchit upakarena kritena yekena tushyati nasmarati apakaranam shatamapi atmavattaya. So they mention this as the greatest quality in Ramachandra Prabhu. Whether you see him as the king, or whether you see him as Bhagavan, or whether you see him as a normal human being, this quality is really important and needed. So they say, Kathanchit upakarena, if you do some small help to Ramachandra Prabhu, then he will never forget it, it seems. And nasmarati apakaranam shatamapi, and for that one good or for that one help that we did, he will never think about the shatamapi, he will never think about the 100 faults that we did earlier. So if you see, there is no match at all. So for one small help that we do, he will immediately forget 100 sins or 100 faults that we have done. And they mention the reason for it, it is Atmavattaya, because of his qualities. Atmavattaya kathanchit upakarena, but if we see here, what help that we can do to Ramachandra Prabhu? What help we can do? He is mentioning as kathanchit upakarena, what can be that help? So if you see him, Ramachandra Prabhu as the king, in that way also we can't be of any help to him. It is only we seeking his help. And if he is Bhagavan also, in that way also we being Jivas, we being Alpanyas and he being Sarvajna, there is no way for us to help him. So, but what is that help Ramachandra Prabhu is mentioning here? So when Ramachandra Prabhu is ready to show his compassion, or he is ready to bless us, we should not do some activities that forces him not to. That is the only thing that is needed from us. So we should just wait for Bhagavan to do or show his blessings to us, and we should just accept it. And in that moment, if we don't accept it or do some faults or something, so that it forces Bhagavan to not show his compassion or his blessings to us, so that becomes the fault in us. So Ramachandra Prabhu feels that if you are just waiting and accepting the what I give to you, that becomes the greatest upakara. So katanchit upakarena kritena yekena tushyati nasmarati apakaranam shatamapi atmavattaya. But on the contrary, if you see in the case of a human being, so he will just, you have done 100 helps to him, but the one small thing in which we didn't help him or we created some issue to that person, he will be thinking about that alone. And the all other 100 helps that we did for him, he will forget immediately. And he will say, you didn't help me in this situation, so you didn't come for me in this situation. So that is what we will be speaking about. But if you see in the case of Bhagavan, in the case of Ramachandra Prabhu, it is the opposite. He will only think about the smallest of help that we would have done. And if you see the smallest help that we can do to Bhagavan is just chanting his name and wait for his blessings to come and reach us. So if we just chant Rama, that is the greatest help. Because other than that, there is no way to grab his compassion or grab his blessings. So if we just chant and wait for him, so Bhagavan will be really pleased and happy, and he said that you have done a great help for me. Since you are waiting and since you have chanted my name, so that it would be easy for me to bless you. So katanchit upakarena, and this shlokam is also taken by Bhagavan Namadwaar in his Nama Siddhantam. He says that Bhagavan has tied a rope in his hand, a vratha in his hand, which mentions yatha katanchit ashrita rakshanaya. So dikshitam, he has taken a diksha that whomever it may be, Namamritam tasya vadanara ninde, if he just chants his name, he has taken a diksha that he will definitely protect that bhakta. So yatha katanchit shrita sudikshitam tat jagadeka bhartuhu namamritam tat vadanara vinde sadamama slishta samarpanaya. So all the people are speaking about the qualities of Ramachandra Prabhu, and it is never ending. If you see in the Ayodhya Kandam, the first 2 chapters of Ayodhya Kandam speak about the qualities of Ramachandra Prabhu, and immediately Dasharatha is really happy and he wants Ramachandra Prabhu to come to the Sabha, and he wants all the people and himself to see Ramachandra Prabhu at that place, and in the Sabha itself he wants to convey the news that Ramachandra Prabhu will be coronated. And when it is going to happen, not after 1 week or 1 month or 1 year, it is going to happen the next day. So immediately he called Sumantra, immediately he called Vasishtha Maharishi and asked them to make the arrangements for the coronation tomorrow. So that being the case, he first sends Sumatra to call Ramachandra Prabhu to come to the Sabha, and since in the morning Ramachandra Prabhu has finished all his rituals and all his duties, and he is waiting in his Antahpuram, and immediately Sumantra goes there and he informs Ramachandra Prabhu that Dasharatha Maharaja is calling him, and immediately Ramachandra Prabhu is ready to come to the Sabha, and Ramachandra Prabhu is taken in his chariot by Sumantra, and Ramachandra Prabhu reaches here. And since all the people are here and all the people know that Ramachandra Prabhu will be coronated and this meeting is for that, all the people are waiting in front of the Sabha, in the roads, in the streets it seems, and Ramachandra Prabhu is coming in his chariot, and they are seeing the beauty of Ramachandra Prabhu. Gandharvaraja pratimam loke vikhyata paurusham dirgha bhagum mahasatvam mattamatangagaminam chandrakantananam ramam ativa priyadarshanam rupa audarya gunaih pumsam drishti chittapaharinam. They are seeing Ramachandra Prabhu in the streets. So all the ladies there, they see Ramachandra Prabhu's beauty, and all the men that are there, they see about the valor and the parakramam of Ramachandra Prabhu. Gandharvaraja pratimam. They have heard in Itihasas and Puranas that there is a Gandharva king called Chitraratha who is so beautiful it seems. And immediately when Ramachandra Prabhu is approaching the Sabha, they are seeing Ramachandra Prabhu and feel that Gandharva Raja is no match to Ramachandra Prabhu. Gandharva Raja pratimam. But if you want to say some comparison, the best comparison or the closest comparison is that Gandharva Raja. So Gandharva Raja pratimam loke vikhyata paurusham. All the people there, they see the greatness, the power of Ramachandra Prabhu. There is valor, his majesty, everything is seen by them, and they are speaking to themselves. Loke vikhyata paurusham. So how great he is. He has broken the Shivadhanus. He has won over Parashurama Maharishi's ego also. So he is so powerful is what they have been speaking. Loke vikhyata paurusham dirgha bhagum. They see his hands, it is so long it seems. Dirgha bhagum mahasatvam. He is so tall it seems. Mattamatanga gaminam. He gets down from the chariot and he is entering into the Sabha. So the way in which he walks is also mentioned. Mattamatanga gaminam. Like an elephant he is coming it seems. Mattamatanga gaminam. And all the people are shouting and chanting and they are jumping, and the police there, they are not able to control all the mob or the crowd it seems. So Ramachandra Prabhu is going via the stairs, there are big stairs, and he is entering into the Sabha. And when he goes the stairs and he turns, they see Ramachandra Prabhu's face. Chandrakantananam ramam ativa priyadarshanam. And since they are all shouting and they are not able to control them, Ramachandra Prabhu showed his hand and waved to them. He says, Dirgha bhagum mahasatvam mattamatanga gaminam. Once Ramachandra Prabhu raised his hands, there are pin drop silence. So Rupa Audarya Gunai. Why there is pin drop silence? Because they are mesmerized by his beauty. Rupa Audarya. So Ramachandra Prabhu does lot of charities. Audarya means without any hesitation or without any questioning, he will be giving lot of charity. So Rupa Audarya. Generally, if you see in human beings, if you see in people, there will be beauty can be available in lot of people. But Audarya, the quality to give lot in charity will not be there. So it is mentioned both the qualities are present in Ramachandra Prabhu. Rupa Audarya Gunaihi. And he is also great in all the qualities and gunas. Pumsam drishti chitta apaharinam. Generally, when Manmata comes or when a person is like Manmata, then immediately all the ladies will have a liking towards that person. But in the case of Ramachandra Prabhu, it is Pumsam drishti chitta apaharinam. It is even the male's eyes are captivating Ramachandra Prabhu's beauty. So Pumsam drishti chitta apaharinam. So that is the way he enters into the Sabha. So once he enters, the entire crowd should leave, right? They are not leaving, they are still standing because he will be coming back again. And whenever whether it is in the morning or whether it is in the evening, they know at what time Ramachandra Prabhu comes to the balcony. They know at what time Ramachandra Prabhu comes out. They know what time he travels from this end to that end. So this sabha to that sabha. So everything they know. So that being the case, as it is mentioned in Bhagavatam, Nityam Nirikshamanana. So whatever day it may be, even after seeing him for a long time, even after seeing him for several days, even after seeing him for daily, still they will be coming and watching him, it seems. So, Rupa Audarya Gunai Pumsam Drishti Chittapa Harinam. So, Ramachandra Prabhu entered the Sabha and Dasharatha mentions to Ramachandra Prabhu that tomorrow you will be coronated. So, immediately what should Ramachandra Prabhu do? He should jump, he should shout, he should immediately hug his father. Something he should do, right? He is silent. He didn't shake his head also. So, Dasharatha himself gets a doubt that whether he is ready for the coronation or not. At least he should say that tomorrow I am not ready for the coronation or I am not at all ready for the coronation. Something he should answer, right? He is silent. But when a person is silent, what we will understand from that? We say that Maunam Sammata. So since he is silent, Dasharatha himself has convinced himself mentioning that okay, tomorrow is your coronation. But there is no chalanam or there is no change or shake in Ramachandra Prabhu's face, in the way his mannerism or in his body language, there is no change at all. So Dasharatha generally, when Valmiki Bhagavan was speaking about the people of Ayodhya, it is mentioned that Ingitagnastu Kosalaha. He is mentioning the qualities of the people of Ayodhya. So just by seeing the person, they will be able to identify what kind of person he is, just by seeing him. Whether he is good, whether he is bad, whether he is such and such, he will just understand what quality that person has and how he is. They will judge him just by seeing. And now you see Dasharatha, who is the person who was ruling those people for 60,000 years. So how much should be his caliber in judging people? And that Dasharatha Maharaja, even after having so much experience, is not able to identify what Ramachandra Prabhu is thinking. So it is beautifully explained here that how Ramachandra Prabhu is Buddhartha Iva Sagaraha. So if you see Samudram, that is the ocean, who can't tell or speak about the volumes of its greatness. So if you see Samudram, if you see the ocean, it will be beautiful. Similarly, Ramachandra Prabhu is beautiful. So if you see the ocean, it will give us peace. So if you see the ocean, it will be, as the waves come out, it will be looking that it is calling us. Likewise, Ramachandra Prabhu is also eager to call us and accept us to him. And if you see, you can't identify the depth of the ocean. So likewise, the depth of Ramachandra Prabhu can also not be found out. So that is what this shows. And what can Dasharatha do? He again sends his child, okay, to leave. He dismisses the Sabha and everyone they do their duties for tomorrow's coronation. And again he makes Sumantra to bring Ramachandra Prabhu to his palace so that he can speak with him freely and ask him what you are thinking about the coronation, because he didn't get any answer from Ramachandra Prabhu at all. But he has made the arrangements. Arrangements are being happening and he is yet to get a confirmation from Ramachandra Prabhu. So Ramachandra Prabhu now comes to Dasharatha's palace there and they are having a conversation. And immediately Dasharatha asks, I think you are not showing any reaction at all for the thing that I told you in the morning. So whether are you interested in the coronation or not? I know that you are interested. Because how can Ramachandra Prabhu not be interested in the coronation? Because he know about the greatness of the kingdom, he know about the greatness of his lineage, he know the greatness of dharma and the way in which the king should govern the country. So everything, since he knows, he will not tell that he is not interested. He is definitely interested, but he didn't give any answer. So Dasharatha is somehow judging what could that be and why he is not speaking, and he himself starts to tell Ramachandra Prabhu that why he has decided the coronation tomorrow itself. And he gives several reasons. Shreyamsi Bahud Vignani. He mentions that whenever we want to do a good activity, we should do it just that thought comes to us. So if you don't do it or if you don't decide it, then immediately it may get lot of issues or lot of problems. Shreyamsi Bahu Vignani. And he mentions one more reason, Chalahi Praninam Matihi. He mentions that if we have decided to give some donation or if we have decided to do some charity, then we should not wait for it, it seems. We should do it immediately. And whenever the issue is related to wealth or property, immediately it should be done. Chalahi praninam matihi. So today, if we decided to give this much amount for this temple or for this cause or for this situation, then we should do it immediately. So if we wait for tomorrow, then our mind may change. And it is especially related to wealth and property. So chalahi praninam matihi. Even when Dasharatha decided that today Ramachandra Prabhu will be coronated, he plans for it immediately. Why? Because he is not sure that tomorrow what his mind or what his thoughts will be. So tomorrow if his mind changes, so he will decide that he will not coronate Ramachandra Prabhu. So if you are dealing with wealth or property, you should do it immediately. So he says, Chalahi praninam matihi. So I am going to coronate you tomorrow. And I want to do it with my hands. That is most important for me, because anyway, after Dasharatha, it is Ramachandra Prabhu. There is no question at all there. So that being the case, you don't think about that situation. And I am having some bad omens that is happening to me. So because of that, I think that I will be short-lived. He is there for 60,000 years, but he is mentioning that he is short-lived. Because there is only few more, he feels in such way. And he has inquired with a few Jyotishas, and they tell that his death is nearby. So that being the case, he feels that Dasharatha himself should coronate Ramachandra Prabhu. So he mentions that I have planned it tomorrow. And finally he has decided this should be Ramachandra Prabhu's reason for not answering anything. These are things that Dasharatha told. But the thing that he feels is, he tells that you are feeling that Bharata is not there. Are you feeling for that? Don't worry. Bharata is not a person who is interested in ruling, or he will not be grabbing the kingdom from you. So, whomever it may be, it is Dasharatha who has understood who Bharata really is. So, all other people in Ayodhya, other than Ramachandra Prabhu, all other people have a doubt in him whether he is the person who has sent Ramachandra Prabhu to the forest. Even Lakshmana has it, even Kausalya has it, all the people of Ayodhya have it, even Guha have that doubt. But if you see here, Dasharatha is explaining to Rama the qualities of Bharata. He says, Kamam khalu satam vritte bhrata te bharatasthitaha jeshthanuvarti dharmatma sanukrosho jitendriyaha. He is speaking about Bharata here to Ramachandra Prabhu. He says, he kamam khalu satam vritte. He is a person who follows the dharma of sadhus. Satam vritte. And how can he make a mistake, or how can he make an error? Because te bhrata, he is your brother, right? So that is what Kamba Ramayanam says. Perumal pin pirappar irepparo pidaitu. So he is having a doubt when he sees Bharata. And when he approaches him and when he has a conversation with him, he decides, he thinks, he feels guilty that I doubted Bharata. He says, how can Bharata, who is the younger brother of Ramachandra Prabhu, create an error or make a mistake? So, that being the case, he says, Satam vritte bhrata te bharatasthitaha, and Jeshthanuvarti. He always follows your path. Jeshthanuvarti dharmatma. He is dharmatma. Sanukrosho jitendriyaha, and that dharma he is keen in following it. Sanukrosho jitendriyaha, he has won over his senses. So he will not be interested in wealth or property or making him the king or all those things he is not interested in. So you don't worry that Bharata is not here. He will definitely accept you as the king, and I feel that he also wants you to be the king. So somehow Dasharatha found out the reason, and he mentions all these things to Ramachandra Prabhu, and he talks about few dharmas, or also he gives some advices to Ramachandra Prabhu on how the kingdom should be governed, and all these things are there. And then he mentions to Rama that Vasishtha Maharishi will be coming, and you should be taking few vows, and few vratas should be followed. So Vasishtha will be coming and doing it. So all these things are mentioned, and Ramachandra Prabhu leaves from Dasharatha's palace, and immediately on the way he sees Lakshmana. Lakshmana also comes to know the news, and he is so happy, and immediately they two hug each other, and Lakshmana feels really happy and mentions, and Ramachandra Prabhu mentions to Lakshmana that though I am going to be coronated the king, but all the decisions can be made by you. Saumitre bhuksha bhogan stvam ishtan rajya palani cha Jeevitam chapi rajyam cha tvadartham abhikamaye. Though I am the king, I will be coronated, but bhuksha bhogan. So you can enjoy all the pleasures that a king would enjoy. So that being the case, he mentions Jeevitam chapi rajyam cha. Why are you thinking about the kingdom? Even my life is for you. So Ramchandra Prabhu is not spilling the words, he is really meaning it. So he has that arjavam, so sanukrosha, meaning that what he speaks he will be following, just not by words he is mentioning these things. And this is taken by Lakshmana as an advantage to him when he is going to the forest also. So that will come in the later part. And immediately with Lakshmana and Ramchandra Prabhu go to meet Kausalya Devi. Kausalya Devi already gets the news and she is really happy. And she arranges a big puja for Ranganatha Swami there, and she is doing a lot of charity, dhana and dharma. And immediately Ramchandra Prabhu enter into Kausalya Devi's Anthapuram, and when he enters there, his face is somewhat dull it seems. And that is identified by Kausalya Devi. And she says, at this juncture, why are you having a sad face? And when he was with Dasharatha, or when he was in the Sabha, or when he was speaking to Lakshmana, he didn't show any of those emotions. But when he has come immediately to his mother, he is showing a sad face. And Kausalya Devi is asking what is the reason. Now Ramchandra Prabhu is giving the reason why he didn't speak anything to his father. He mentions that we all the four brothers, we were born at the same time. When we went to Padashala, that was also together. And when all our Upanayana Samskaram and all other vratas happened, everything was also together. And we used to eat together, we used to sleep together. So we used to play together. And even all these things happened together. Marriage won't happen in such a way. If you see, even all the four brothers were married on the same day to the same family. So since everything is happening together, why this coronation alone is planned when Bharata and Shatrughna is not there? So it is mentioned in Tulsi Ramayanam, Janama Eka Sanga Sabhurvai, Bhojana Shayana Keli Sarikai, Kandra Veda Upavida Vyaha, Sanga Sanga Sabu Evuchaha. So all the things happen together only. But this coronation has been planned by Father in such a way. So you please go and mention to father that let him plan this coronation 1 month later. So Bharata and Shatrughna would also come and be a part of it. So immediately Kausalya says, ask, till now you are with your father only. So he has been asking you for your reasons. But you would have mentioned to him directly, right? But why didn't you mention that? So immediately Ramchandra Prabhu says that I am having fear to speak to father. Is what he mentions. And Kausalya Devi is mentioning for these 60,000 years from the day I got married to him, I never give him suggestions or never go beyond what he says. I definitely feel that whatever our father decides, that will be perfect, suitable, and it will be beneficial for the family. So you don't worry, what he plans will be correct. That is what he advises him. And immediately Vishwa Vasishta Maharishi comes there and he makes Ramchandra Prabhu to follow all the rituals that would be done in the before day of the coronation. And it is mentioned that that day he shouldn't sleep, he shouldn't have any food, he is put into a diksha, put into a vrata. So it is mentioned that Ramchandra Prabhu and Sita Devi are staying in the temple of Ranganatha Swami. Bhagyataha saha vaidehya gate purohite Ramaha snato niyatamanasah Sahapatnya Vishalakshya Narayanamupagamat Bhagyataha saha vaidehya Bhutva Niyatamanasaha Srimatyayatane Vishnoho Jigye Shishye Naravaratmajaha Gate Purohite Ramaha. So after Siddha Maharishi giving him instructions what should be done, so Ramachandra Prabhu takes the vow, takes the vrata, and he and Sita Devi the entire night they stay in Ranganatha Swami's temple. And Sahapatnya Vishalakshya, Sita Devi is having a beautiful blossomed eyes like a lotus, it seems. Vishalakshya. Why? Because she is so interested in seeing Ramachandra Prabhu. And now she gets one more fortune of seeing Ramachandra Prabhu doing puja to Ranganatha Swami. So if you see entire puja that day for Ranganatha Swami is done by Ramachandra Prabhu. So Bhagyataha saha vaidehya, he is not speaking at all. Bhagyataha yata bhak. So when you come to the temple, when you come to satsangs, in that place, we should not be speaking about worldly things, it seems. So we should be maunam, or else we should be speaking about Bhagavan, or we should be chanting its name. So Vagyataha saha Vaideshya Bhutva Niyata Manasaha. So what are all the rules that should be followed, he is following perfectly. So he is having few conversations with Sita Devi about Ranganatha Swami. Srimati Ayatane Vishnoho. The temple is so beautiful, it seems. So Srimati Ayatane Vishno Shishye Naravaratmajaha, he is sleeping in the temple itself. So that being the case, Sita Devi is seeing Ranganatha Swami and Ramachandra Prabhu. And if you see the Kirtan of Tyagaraja Swami, Upachara Mulanu Chekonavaya Uragaraja Shayana. So it is not about Ramachandra Prabhu. It is Ramachandra Prabhu doing all the Upacharam to Ranganatha Swami. So for Swami will do Chatram, Charanam or Samaram or the Upacharams, right? So if Ramachandra Prabhu is coronated, all those things will be done for him. So he will have Chatram, he will have Chamaram, he will have a lot of people in the front, there will be Kattiyam that will be sung for him. So all these things will be there, and this Kirtan is placed in such a way that Ramachandra Prabhu is handing over those things to Ranganatha Swami. Because he is going to have an Utsavam now. He is going to an Utsavam called the forest. So since that Utsavam is going to take place, since Ranganatha Swami is the Moolasthana, and Ramachandra Prabhu is the Utsavar for that temple, because when Dasharatha did all those yaga, Putrakamesh yaga, Ashwamedha yaga, everything was a sacrifice, was submitted to Ranganatha Swami. So since it was done for Ranganatha Swami, it was Ranganatha Swami who is born as Ramachandra Prabhu. So it automatically becomes that Ranganatha is the Moolavar and Ramachandra Prabhu is the Utsavar for that temple. And since the Utsavar is going to leave now for 14 years of Vanavasa for that Utsava, so he is handing over all those things to Ranganatha Swami. So Srimadhyayatane Vishno Shishye Naravaratmajaha, that night Ramachandra Prabhu stays in the temple along with Sita Devi, and next day morning he does all his rituals, his snanam, everything is done, and he prays to Ranganatha. Tushtava Pranataschaiva Shirasa Madhusudhanam. He prostrates to Ranganatha Swami, and both of them leave from the temple and they go to their palace and they get ready for the coronation. So from this place, the story has come to the next day, and after mentioning all these things, Valmiki Bhagavan goes to the previous day. Again goes back, and that is where the conversation between Kuni and Kaikeyi happens. So he comes to the next day, because Ramachandra Prabhu doing puja to Ranganatha Swami and all these things cannot be mixed with Kaikeyi and Kuni's conversation. So he completes that portion completely and again comes back to the previous day. And he starts Nyati yato jata Kaikeya tu sahoshita prasadam sandra sankasham Aruroha Yadrichaya. So that day, before day night, the entire Ayodhya is celebrating. It was all, they have decorated the entire city, and this Kuni, it is mentioned, if you see in Ramayanam, for each individual when they are introduced, Valmiki Bhagavan gives a detailed description about them. If you see in Kishkinda Kandam, I don't know how he identified the differences between the monkeys. He is mentioning perfect and particular differentiation of each monkeys. He says that their tail will be this much length, their tail will be this much big. All these descriptions are there. But here, when he is speaking about Kuni, he doesn't mention from where she comes, doesn't mention that who she is, nothing is mentioned. He mentions Nyatidasi Yato Jata. She has come from somewhere else which is unknown. Because if she is a person in Ayodhya, then she will not be having such a character. Because in Ayodhya, all the beings, all the creatures are happy regarding Ramachandra Prabhu's coronation, and she is the only lady who is not happy or she is not for it. She is entirely against it. Nyatidasi yato jata. But she is a servant for Kaikeyi. Kaikeya tu sahoshita prasadam chandra sankasham. So, in Kaikeyi's palace, there is a big balcony there at the top. From that balcony, she is viewing entire Ayodhya, it seems, and she is a kind of a person who can't tolerate other people's happiness, and particularly Kausalya. So when she sees the entire Ayodhya celebrating there, it is mentioned that Tesham Sukha Kridana Vikshana Kshamaha. There are people, it seems, they have this tendency that if others are happy, they will not be happy seeing it. If others are happy, we should also feel happy for them, right? That is not possible for people like Kuni. So when she, that too particularly from that balcony, she could view Kausalya's palace. And Kausalya Devi is wearing a new saree. Generally, queens will be wearing new saree only. But since she has heard that Ramachandra Prabhu is going to being coronated, on hearing that news, she changed the saree because of her happiness. All Gena Panja, they have lot of sarees, so they are changing. So that moment she changed one, it seems, and she is doing lot of charity. So her face is glowing, and that can't be tolerated by Kuni. I am seeing Kausalya Devi really happy. From that balcony, she is skipping steps and running. So one step, I feel that she could have fallen there. That being the case, she is skipping steps and she is coming and asking few other servants who are present there, what is happening, why you are all celebrating, what is the reason? And those people mentioned that Ramachandra Prabhu Yavarajye Abhishekshati. Ramachandra Prabhu is going to be coronated tomorrow. So for that all the things are arranged in Sonna One, she can't tolerate it at all. So immediately she is rushing to Kaikeyi's Antapura, and Kaikeyi is sleeping. Because generally at nights Dasharatha will be coming to Kaikeyi's Antapura only. But since he is engaged in the arrangements, he is yet to come. And Kaikeyi Devi has been waiting for him, and since he is yet to come, she has slept. And this Kuni enters at that time. And we mentioned that this Kuni is a servant of Kaikeyi. And look at the way and look at the tempo in which she is waking her up. Uttishta mude kim sheshe bhayam tvam abhivardhate upaplutam abhogena natmanam avabudhyase. A great danger is waiting for you and you are sleeping. And she is calling Kaikeyi. And Kaikeyi Devi is the Priya Bharya of Dasharatha Maharaja among all other queens. And she is having such an attitude and she is having such a tempo towards Kaikeyi Devi. Uttishta mude, stupid, you wake up. Uttishta mude kim sheshe, is this the time to sleep? Bhayam tvam abhivardhate, mahat bhayam, grave danger is awaiting you. Upaplutam abhavugena natmanam avabudhyase. So your state is when there is a big tsunami coming. If a person is sleeping on the shores of the ocean, so that is how your sleeping is. The way in which you are sleeping is looking like that. So you wake up. Chalam hi tava saubhagyam. So all the pleasures and all the riches that you are enjoying is going to come to an end. Chalam hi tava saubhagyam. Nadya srota ivoshnage. When there is summer, peak summer, then all the rivers and all the ponds will get dried up, right? So likewise is all your saubhagyam. So chalam hi tava saubhagyam. And if you see Kaikeyi, there is no reaction from her at all. She is waking up normally. Why? Because this is the way in which this Kuni will be waking up daily. So this is a practice for her. Uttishta mude, that is the way in which she used to wake her up. And whatever small news or small information it will be, she will be conveying it in this manner. So that being the case, it is a practice for Kaikeyi. She didn't show any emotions or she didn't feel anything at all. Normally, she is waking up and asking Kaikeyi, what is the reason? What is the information? Immediately she is shouting, Ramam Dasharatho Raja Yavarajye Abhishekshati. Ramachandra Prabhu is going to be coronated and Dasharatha has made it tomorrow. It is going to happen tomorrow. That is why I am telling grave danger is for you. And you know what Kaikeyi did immediately? She is wearing a Ratna Haram and she immediately grabs it and throws it to Kuni. So you take this, you have conveyed a beautiful message for me, happy message for me, but it is my misfortune, Durbhagyam, that I am listening to this news from you and in this way. How should you convey Ramachandra Prabhu's coronation? This is the way you will be conveying, and I am not talking bad about you. It is my Durbhagyam that I am listening this news from you, but you have given a happy news to me, so I am giving you this mala, giving you this Ratna mala. So immediately Kuni grabs it and she throws it. She is not accepting it, she is throwing it and all the pearls are scattering. And she is mentioning, what are you saying? Are you happy for Ramachandra Prabhu's coronation? Then you think about Bharata, what will happen to him? Kaikeyi answers. She says, Rameva Bharateva ham vishesham nopalakshyate. There is no difference for me regarding Ramachandra Prabhu or Bharata. Both are my children. And that too, If you see, it is Ramachandra Prabhu who is more fond of me than Bharata. So if you feel, immediately Kuni is answering. She is mentioning that if Ramachandra Prabhu is coronated, so it is only Kausalya you will be making all the decisions. And you will become her servant, this is going to happen. Immediately Kaikeyi says that is not so, that will not happen. If Bharata is coronated, that will happen. Since it is Ramachandra Prabhu who is going to be coronated, he is so close to me. Tasmat tushtasmi yad raja Ramam rajye abhishekshyati. So she mentions that I am really happy that Ramachandra Prabhu is going to be coronated because it is beneficial for me. Kausalyato tiriktam cha mama susrushate bahu. More than staying in Kausalya's palace, Ramachandra Prabhu will always be in my palace and in my place only. It is only Bharata who will be always speaking about Kausalya Amma. But if you see, in my place, it is always Ramachandra Prabhu and I am really happy. It can't be uttered by Kuni at all, and she is trying to change Kausalya to Kaikeyi Devi's mind. Dhruvam tu Bharatam Ramaha Prapya Rajyam Akantakam Deshantaram Nayayitva Lokantaram Athapiva. You are not understanding how the world functions. Because Ramachandra Prabhu is really fond of you, that is not true, he is acting. Why? Because he understands that you are the Priya Patni of Dasharatha Maharaja. So if he is close to you, so if he has a liking towards you and you like him and you are fond of him, it will be easy for him to become the king. So that is the reason why he is showing this much love to you. So once he is made the king, his mind will change. He will definitely show his favors towards his mother only and not to you. So you understand. So if that is the case, then all the riches and all the things will be enjoyed by Kausalya and not you, and you will become her servant and you should be doing all the services to her. And immediately she mentions, you think about Bharata. So if Ramachandra Prabhu should be made the king, why it is being decided when Bharata is there in Kaikeyi Desa? Why he is not being called here? So that itself shows that there is some issue related to it. And if Bharata returns once Ramachandra Prabhu is made the king, definitely Ramachandra Prabhu will put him in the jail. So Deshantaram Nayayitva Lokantaram Atapva. If that is not so, Rama can go to an extent of killing Bharata also. So when she speaks these terms, it automatically, for a mother, when it is about her child, she will be emotional. And when these things are spoken by Kuni, and if you see the situation that is surrounding these words that she is speaking, it will be true for Kaikeyi. She will feel that it is right because Bharata is not here. And Ramachandra Prabhu is going to be coronated and it is happening the next day. So why so hurry then? So all these things, but initially she was good. But she had love to Ramachandra Prabhu. She knows everything about Dasharatha also. But immediately when Kuni took that emotional subject about Bharata, her mind changes. So Deshantaram Navahitva Lokantaram Atapiva. So Rama can go to an extent to kill Bharata. So if when that is spoken, immediately Kaikeyi loses her control. She starts to cry. She starts to sweat because of that love she has for Bharata, and immediately she asks Kuni, what can I do? And Kuni, she mentions that earlier during the war of Sambharasura, when you helped Dasharatha Maharaja, he gave you 2 boons. So, and you have mentioned him at that time that you will get it later. And all those things has been told by Kaikeyi to Kuni, and she is bringing it at the right time. And when she mentions it, Kaikeyi says, yes, you are right. So I will use it now. And what should I ask from the 2 boons? So for 1 boon, you should ask that Bharata should be coronated the next day. And the other one is Ramachandra Prabhu should go to the forest for 14 years. You ask these boons. So immediately she is really happy for Kuni, and she mentions that Kuni is the most beautiful person in the world. From Padma Mivavatena, she is mentioning, there is no one as beautiful as you. You are, I am beautiful and you are also beautiful. So she can't leave herself also. She mentions that I am like a lotus and you are like a lotus that is half bent. So that being the case, from Padma Mivavatena, and what you told, if it happens, then I will provide you lot of riches, lot of pleasures, everything will be there for you. And immediately when Kaikeyi is speaking these things, Kuni stops. First let it happen. Then you can give words and then you can mention that you will provide me all these things. So for that to happen, you have to react in a particular way. So you know how you should behave, you should cry, you should be so adamant in what you need. So immediately make arrangements for that. So it is possible for her. And in those days in kingdoms, there is a place called Kopagraham. So there is a room where you can express your anger. So Kopagraham is there, it seems. And at that day night, Kaikeyi Devi goes to that room and she wears a very old saree and she removes all her decorations, all her ornaments that she wears. And generally when Dasharatha Maharaja comes, she will be welcoming him. But here if you see, she is not there today. And Dasharatha, after completing all the arrangements for tomorrow's coronation, he enters into Kaikeyi's Anthapuram, and when he is coming, he is really happy. He is so happy because more than anyone else, he feels that Kaikeyi will be the person who will be more happy when she hears this news. And it is mentioned, Priyakyam Priyamakyatuhu Vivesha Anthapuram Vashi Sa Kaikeya Griham Sreshtam Divesha Mahayashaha Priyaha Priyamakyatu. So if an husband gets a bonus in the office, so he will be more happy when he comes and shares with his wife. So Priyayaha Priyamakyatu. So when two people who are so fond of each other, when they share that news, it will be so beautiful and it will be so happy, right? So when compared to all others, Dasharatha feels that this should be shared with Kaikeyi. So that is why he himself directly is coming and trying to mention to her. So if you see the case of Kausalya, the news goes. So she gets the news. So that's why when Ramchandra Prabhu enters, she is happy for him and she has made all the arrangements. But in the case of Kaikeyi, she is yet to know. So what Dasharatha feels that he should come and convey that news to Kaikeyi. And yesterday, when they had a private conversation, Dasharatha and Kaikeyi has mentioned it seems that why are you still holding this post and this kingdom? You could give it to your son and you can take rest, right? So this was mentioned by Kaikeyi. And Dasharatha feels that I have fulfilled what you asked for. So for that I am coming and telling to you directly. Priyayaha Priyamakyatu Ivesha Anthapuram Vashi. So he enters the Anthapuram and it is empty. There is no one there to welcome him. There is no Kaikeyi, there are no Chetis who are there. No one is there. And when he enters, some few people are there inside the Anthapuram and they mention that Kaikeyi Rani is in this Kopagraham. So Dasharatha has understood that something for her should be fulfilled. And this is also a practice of Kaikeyi, that whenever she needs something, her desires to be fulfilled, she will be opening that door. She will be opening it. So immediately Dasharatha Maharaja enters there, and like how if there is some issues between an husband and wife, so how will the husband try to pacify her? So that is the way in which Dasharatha enters and he tries to speak with Kaikeyi. Tena Ramena Kaikeyi So he is entering inside and Kaikeyi is there, she is crying there, she is full of anger, she is not ready to speak to Dasharatha, and Dasharatha somehow tries to pacify her and ask what is that you need. And immediately she says that I have two boons that you should grant me, which you mentioned during the war of Sambharasura. And immediately Dasharatha says that is already given, right? So why are you worrying? So that is there for you, you are yet to ask it. So this is what Ramayanam shows us a lesson, that when you give two boons or when you accept to give something to another person, and if that person says that I will get it later, you should not accept it. At that moment we should give it. Whether it is useful for him or not, from our side, that issue should get over. So since Dasharatha has already given those two boons, at that time when Kaikeyi didn't use it, then when she is using it in the future, then she can ask anything. So already Dasharatha has been tied for the two boons. So he is asking, it is already given, so why are you worrying? And immediately what Kaikeyi does, she, before mentioning those two boons, she says that all the devatas here are sakshi for the two boons that I ask. So let the devas be sakshi, let the entire, all the sides, all the dig, all the directions be sakshi for the two boons that I am getting. So immediately Dasharatha is shocked. Why are you mentioning these kind of words? Since that already those two boons are there, so why are you worrying about it? And you don't worry that if I will go, I will not allow it to happen. That is never there. And he makes three promises. He makes 3 promises that I will definitely fulfill what you ask for. And all these three promises that he said now, he is mentioning about Ramachandra Prabhu. So the first one he mentions, so among all the people, I like Ramachandra Prabhu the most. And if I am separated from that Ramachandra Prabhu, so that being if I am separated, I will be losing my life. On that Rama, I make this promise that I will give you these 2 boons. So even if Yamadharmaraja comes and if he is in a situation to take Ramachandra Prabhu's life, I will say that you don't take Ramachandra Prabhu's life, instead of you take mine, or instead of that you take Kausalya's, Kaikeyi, Sumitra, so whomever it may be, on that Rama I make the promise. On which Ramachandra Prabhu that I am really fond of, on that Ramachandra Prabhu I make the promise that I will give you these 2 boons. So he tells it 3 times, and immediately this is what Kaikeyi needs, and she immediately mentions that I need 2 boons. Yevarangal irandin ondrinal ensei arasu alvadu சீதை கேள்வன் ஒன்றால் போய் வனமாள்வது என புகன்று நின்றால் தீயை யாவையிலும் சிறந்த தீயால். So it is mentioned in Kamba Ramayana that like how a venomous snake will be approaching an elephant to come and bite it, that is the way in which Kaikeyi has approached Dasharatha it seems. And the poison that the venomous snake comes from its tongue is the 2 boons that Kaikeyi is asking. So Yevarangal irandinal. So the first boon is Ensei, that is my child should rule the kingdom. Granted. Dasharatha says it is granted. Because he is happy that whomever it is, whether it is Bharata, Ramachandra, or whomever it is granted, it is no difference for him. So he says that if you want Bharata to be cornet at the game, I am ready to do it. And the second boon, Sithai Kelvan, Kamban has put it in a beautiful way that she is not mentioning the name Ramata. So Sithai Kelvan, the husband of Sita should go to the forest for 14 years. Sithai Kelvan Ondral Poi Vanam Alvad. And I have made a kingdom ready for Rama also. So he should go and rule the forest. Let him rule there. And my child will be ruling the kingdom. So immediately when this boon is asked, like how if a snake comes and bites an elephant, how will that fall? That is the way Dasharatha fell down. He couldn't realize what this Kaikeyi has asked, and somehow he gets some confidence. She has just asked it right, and she is just my wife, right? What is the big thing in there? So let us somehow pacify her. So let me somehow change her mind. Dusam se dushtachaaritre Kulasyasya vinashini kim kritam tava ramena pape papam maya viva. She is scolding her. You are a venomous person. I didn't think that you will ask such a boon. What papam or what misery did Ramachandra Prabhu bring to you, or what misery did I bring to you? Both of us are always thinking about your welfare and people's welfare, right? So kim kritam maya papen. So what misery that I brought to you, that is never there at all. Pape papam maya piva. So there is never in your case, and you are living a luxurious and happy life. So what mistake did Ramachandra Prabhu do to you to ask such a boon? And if you see in my place, if there is any issue, then let me go to the forest. So I am ready to do it. If you have any issues with me, tell me. But if you say that there is some issue with Ramachandra Prabhu, I can never accept that at all. Because that is never there. Satyena lokanjayati Deenan danena ragavaha guru susrushaya bhaktya dhamusha yudhi shatravana. You can't point a mistake or an error in Ramachandra Prabhu at all. That can never be accepted, and all the people are really fond of him and really they like him. So that being the case, that is the reason why I am going to make him the king. And he has won the hearts of all the people. Satyena lokan jayati. Through his righteousness, he has won over entire world. Satyena lokan jayati. Deenan danena raghavaha. And people who are really in need, he has helped him on his own in lot of occasions, and he has won their hearts also. Deenan danena raghavaha Guru Susrushaya Bhaktya. And all the sadhus and all the rishis also like Ramachandra Prabhu because of his service that he has done to those gurus. So Guru Susrushaya Bhaktya Dhamusha Yudhi Shatravan. And even Ramachandra Prabhu's enemies are also fond of him. Dhamusha Yudhi Shatravan. So they feel really blessed and they feel really happy that they have lost to Ramachandra Prabhu. So they are needing it, it seems. So na Ramatta Totrke, that is the thing that they are feeling very happy about. So Dhanusha Yudhi Shatra Van. So that being the case, how can that child be sent to the forest? And if Ramachandra Prabhu goes to the forest, if I am separated from Ramachandra Prabhu, then there is no scope and no hope that I will live. Tishten loko vina suryam satyam va salilam vina natu ramam vina dehe tishtettu mama jeevidam. Even this world can survive if the sun is not there. Tishten loko vina suryam satyam va salilam vina. All the crops can be alive, can stay alive even if there is no water. Natu Ramam Vina Dehe Ishtettu Mama Jeevanam. And if I am separated from Ramachandra Prabhu, then there is no scope that I will live. So you understand my situation. And you think about the other people in the family also. You are not the only person here. So I have other wives called Kausalya, Sumitra, all the other wives are there. So if I adhere to what you feel, then what will those people think? Because our family is not the relationship between two people. So it is a big family, it has a lot of members there. So each one's priorities are there and each one's decisions are there and each one's desires are there. If I fulfill each and everyone's desire which are like this, then think about the condition of the family. It will entirely be ruined. So ours is a joint family. So just these things can't be done. Kausalyam va Sumitram va tyajeyam api vashriyam Jeevitam natmano ramam natveva pitruvatsalam. Think about Kausalya. What will she think? Think about Sumitra Devi. She has 2 children. If I send Ramachandra Prabhu to the forest, then she will be the first person who will be having fear of the condition of her 2 children. So think about that. So think about me. So think about Kausalya. So all other people in the kingdom, and how bad the people here will be speaking about me. How bad all other kings will be speaking about me. So all the way Dasharatha is trying options to somehow he can pacify Kaikeyi to change the second mood. The first one is already given, it is there. And he is mentioning, even I am ready to sacrifice Kausalya, Sumitra, and even the kingdom I am ready to, let me go to the forest. I am ready to go. And this is the time for me to go to the forest. And if you send Ramachandra Prabhu to the forest, then the next person following Ramachandra Prabhu will be Sita Devi. Is it the proper age for them to go to the forest or it is for us? So it should be Kausalya, Kaikeyi, Sumitra and Dasharatha going to the forest because they are in that age. But you are enjoying all the pleasures and you are enjoying all the riches in the kingdom and you want that Sita Devi to go to the forest and adhere all those difficulties there. Think about Janaka, what he will think. So all the way Dasharatha is speaking somehow to console Kaikeyi Devi, but it is not happening, and finally he goes to an extent of falling at her feet. He says that this Dasharatha has never fallen at the feet other than my Guru. So it is only Vasishta Maharishi whom I do prostrations to, and it is only Ranganatha Swami who I do prostrations to. Other than that, I have never fell at the feet of any other person, but I do it to you so that you will change your decision. He says, Anjalim Kurmi Kaikeyi Pradau Mam Paninas Prishan. Touching your feet, I am falling at your feet. Somehow you change your mind. Somehow you please change the second mood. Now you see the condition of Dasharatha. Dasharatha is not fallen for Kaikeyi. He is fallen for Dharma. So that is why if you see in the first shloka when he entered into Kaikeyi's Antahpuram, it is mentioned that Vivesha Antahpuram Vashi. Vashi means a person who has controlled his lust, a person who has controlled his senses, a person who has controlled his mind. So such a person is entering there. So that you should not feel that Dasharatha has fallen for the lust or the love that he had for Kaikeyi. That is not there. He has fallen for Dharma. And if you see in Bhagavatam, it is beautifully mentioned, Yes Satyapasha Parivita Pitur Nidesham. So Kaikeyi is having a rope, and that rope is called Satyam. And with that rope, she has tied Dasharatha. And now after Dasharatha crying, after Dasharatha pleading, after all these things, she is not convinced at all, she is not changing her mind, and she is speaking that you should follow your dharma, you should follow your words. Because all the people in the kingdom, all earlier kings who were in this lineage, they have followed their dharma and satyam. So that being the case, you should definitely follow. Shaibhyaha shena kapotiye swamamsam pakshine dadau. There was a king called the Shibi Chakravarti who gave his own flesh from this body for a bird to survive. And think about them. Alarkaha chakshushi datva. There was a king called Alarka. For dharma, he gave out his eyes itself. Alarkaha chakshushi datva. And there was Harichandra for satyam. He was protecting a graveyard. So think about those people. Sagaraha samayam kritva na velam ativartate samayam manusham karshihi. He is mentioning, you see, think about the Sagaram, that is the ocean. It is not crossing its limit because Sagaram also comes under the lineage of Dasharatha Maharaja, the Surya Vamsha, because they are the son of Sagara Chakravarti. And they are not crossing their limits, they are not crossing their borders. So all the people who are related with your kingdom and your lineage are following Satya and Dharma. So that being the case, how can you overcome it? You should follow your rules. So you order. If you don't do it, then I am ready to drink poison and lose my life. She is also threatening Dasharatha. She is also speaking about Dharma, Satyam, and everything is mentioned. And Dasharatha can't tolerate any of those. So he is waiting somehow, let this night pass. Otherwise, I can't stay in the place where Kaikeyi is present because he is already fallen. He is already down, so he can't get up and go somewhere also. So somehow he feels that this night go away. Or somehow he feels that there is some more time for me to convince Kaikeyi and make her to change her mind. But that doesn't happen. And immediately the next day morning it is dawn. And Sumantra first comes because all the arrangements are made for the coronation to happen. They bring all the Kalasha Tirtha has been brought. So all the rishis are there. So all the arrangements, people are gathering in that hall where the coronation will happen. But there is Dasharatha yet to come there. So immediately Sumantra goes to call Dasharatha Maharaja. And immediately Kaikeyi opens the room and she mentions that Dasharatha is asking Ramachandra Prabhu to come here. Sumantra is not going immediately because it is always Dasharatha who gives him instructions. It is not Kaikeyi, so she is waiting. He is waiting. And immediately Dasharatha from inside, in a feeble voice, he mentions to Sumantra, go bring Ramachandra Prabhu. And immediately Dasharatha goes there and Sumantra goes there and he didn't find out that this has happened last night. He couldn't because he felt that Dasharatha, because of his tiredness and making arrangements for the coronation, he is yet to come out. So he goes there and he brings Ramachandra Prabhu. And when Ramachandra Prabhu enters into Kaikeyi's palace, Dasharatha, on seeing Ramachandra Prabhu entering there, he again falls down. And he cries Rama, Rama, like this, he is shouting and he falls. And immediately Ramachandra Prabhu he also starts to cry. Oh, what happened to father? So immediately he rushes, he holds him, he somehow consoles him and he is mentioning, see, these are words of Ramachandra Prabhu to Dasharatha. He is saying, Durlabhaiva Sada Sukham. Dasharatha, who is the Chakravarti, who is ruling Ayodhya, and his son is Sakshat Ramachandra Prabhu, and he is mentioning that Durlabhaiva Sada Sukham. So no one in this world can be happy always. So Sukham is temporary. And these are mentioned to Dasharatha by Rama. So look at their status and look at the place where they are, and they are having such a conversation. Durlabhaiva Sada Sukham. Because Dasharatha is not able to speak. And immediately Kaikeyi says that you are the reason for the father's sorrow. So you are the reason for this condition. Immediately Ramchandra Prabhu can't bear it. He says, Bhakshayeyam visham tikshnam pateyam api charnave niyukto guruna pitra gripena cha hitena cha. This is the way he mentions, Bhakshayeyam visham tikshnam. I am ready to drink even poison if my father orders to. Mateyam api charnave. If he asks him to go and fall in the ocean, I am ready to do it. So that being the case, why he is hesitating to mention what he needs from me? So I am ready to go to that extent. So that being the case, why he is hesitating, he can definitely tell me what is the reason, what I should do, and I will definitely follow it. So here, for Dasharatha, she had a rope called the Satyam. And for Ramachandra Prabhu, that rope is not needed here. For Ramachandra Prabhu, she has a rope called Dasharatha. So for tying the Ramachandra Prabhu, Appa Sonna, father has told you to do it. That rope is enough. Satyam, Dharma, Agulala secondary. For Dasharatha that is needed. So yet Satyapasha Parivita Piturnidesha. So for Dasharatha it is Satyam, and for Ramachandra Prabhu it is Dasharatha. And immediately she mentions, Adisur ulagamellam Bharatane ala நீ போய் தாழிரு சடைகள் தாங்கி தாங்க அருந்தவர் மேற்கொண்டு பூழிவெண் காணும் நன்னி புண்ணிய புனல்களாடி 7 ஆண்டில் வா என்று that is available between the 7 oceans. So Adisur ulagamellam Bharatane ala. So she is not alone, she has accepted, she has grabbed Ayodhya for Bharata. She has grabbed the entire world for him. So Adisur ulagamellam Bharatane ala. I am really happy for Bharata. Let him rule the kingdom. Like what Dasharatha said, Ramchandra Prabhu is also happy for it. Because like how he mentioned to Lakshmana that though I will be coronated, you are the king. So it is the same for Bharata also. If Bharata was there at that moment, he would have mentioned that to Bharata. So he says, let Bharata rule the kingdom, no problem. Bharatane ala. Okay, so I am not the king. I can stay in this kingdom, right? No, you can't stay in the kingdom. Taadidat sadaigal taangi. So what I should do? Nee poi. So you should not be here. That is the primary thing. Nee poi. Okay. So where should I go? Taadidu sadaigal taangi taanga arun tavar merkondu Puni ven kanam nalgi. So you should go to the forest. Okay, I should not stay in this kingdom, right? So with my power and with the valor and the strength that I have, since I am also a Kshatriya, I can go and fight with other kings and capture some other kingdom and rule. Is that possible? No, that is also not possible. You should go to the forest. Okay, going to the forest, what I should do? Tar idu sadaigal taangi. So maraburi you should wear. So you should wear Jadabharam. So all these things you should be as a rishi. You should rishi tulyam. You should be in the forest. Taaliru sadaigal taangi taanga aruntavar mekondu. Since you are the first child in this family, so you should be thinking about the welfare of the family. So I feel that you should go to the forest, and if you do penance there, so that will benefit the family. That is why I am sending you. Tar adu tavam merkondu. Okay, then should I return or should I not? So I should be in the forest forever? No. ஆடி வெண் 7 ஆண்டில் வா என்று இயம்பினன் அரசன் என்றார். So I give you time. So for a stay in forest is not permanent, is limited. 7 it is mentioned in one of the Vyakyanam that even Kaikeyi can't mention 14 years to Rama, it says. So she mentions 7, so 2 into 7. She is reducing the years by mentioning it as 2 into 7. So 7 ஆண்டில் வா என்று இயம்பினன் அரசன் என்றால். So these are not my wishes. These are Dasharatha's wishes. So you go to the forest. And at that moment, we should see the face of Ramachandra Prabhu. So we were explaining all these things to come and stop here at his face. So if you see that when he is coronated, he didn't show many emotions. So we don't know that whether he was happy or sad. But here, if you see, he is really happy. And it is mentioned that இப்பொழுது எம்பாரே இயம்புதற்கு எளிதே யாரும் செப்ப அரும் குணத்து ராமன் திருமகச் செவ்வினோக்கின். Kamba is mentioning that at this moment, if you want to explain, if somebody is really interested in explaining something, then you should explain the face gesture of Ramachandra Prabhu, it says. And this is the right time for it. If you want to explain about Ramachandra Prabhu also, this is the right time. So, at this juncture, he is entirely it is unknown to Ramachandra Prabhu because he is ready for the coronation. With entirely, he is adorned all the costumes and adorned all the ornaments and he is ready for the coronation. And at that time, he is brought here and this news is conveyed. And immediately, Kamba sees, Voppude Munduvingum. So, this face is can't be compared with anything. It can never be comprehended at all. Seppa arum gunathu raman tirumaka chavvinokkin. So it is really happy. There is entire peace can be seen in his face, it seems. So he is really happy and he says avvasagam unarakketa. So he is listening something in his ears. So since he is hearing, so he should have some emotion should be conveyed, right? When he has heard it, அப்பொழுது அலர்ந்த செந்தாமரையும் வென்றதம்மா. So at that moment, if a lotus is blossomed and if it is brought there and kept placed near Ramachandra Prabhu's face, then though that beauty will be lesser than Ramachandra Prabhu's. அன்றலர்ந்த செந்தாமரையும் வென்றதம்மா. So Ramachandra Prabhu has won over that lotus's beauty, it seems. Andalaranda Sendamarayum Vendradamma. Immediately Ramchandra Prabhu speaks. He says, you are the only person who have understood me correctly. It is not Dasharatha, it is not Kausalya, it is nobody else has understood me, but you are the right person, and I am happy that you have asked this boon at the right time. This is what I need. He mentions Vidhimam Rishibhistulyam Vimalam Dharmama Astitam. I want to live as a rishi in the forest. That is what I am thinking in my mind always. And you are the right person and you are the correct person who have grabbed that thought and you have asked it as a boon. But I have one small, one thing is hurting me. Small thing that is hurting me is that you told Iyambinan Arasan Endra. So will I not follow your instructions if you mention me to go to the forest? I am ready to do it. So he says, Mannavan Paniyendra Agil Numpani Marupano. Why are you adding an extra term by mentioning that these are the interests of Dasharatha? That is not required at all. If you ask me, if you instruct me to go to the forest, there is no boons at all needed. If you just instruct me, I am ready to go. Numpani Marupano. And did you have any doubt that if Bharata is coronated, I will be sad? That is never an issue at all. Pinnavan Petra Selvam Adiyanen Petra Dando. Whether it is Bharata, whether it is Lakshmana, whether it is Shatrughna, that is never an issue or worry for me at all because they are my brothers. Pinnavan Petra Selvam Adiyanen Petra Dando. So he mentions these two things because that is hurting him. So initially you told father's name and now you mention it is for Bharata. So I am really happy for both the reasons. So he says, Mannavan Paniyendra Agil Numpani Marupano Pinnavan Petra Selvam Adiyanen Petra Dandro Yen Ini Urudiyappa. You don't worry, I am firm in my decision, I have decided. He says, Ippani Talaimel Konden. I am holding the boon that you asked for, the instruction that my fathers gave me on my head. So he says, Talaimel Konden, I will definitely follow it. Min Olir Kanam Indre. He's mentioning, I am leaving to the forest just that moment itself. Pogindren Vidayum Konden. The way this Pasuram comes to an end, it creates a beautiful emotion. It mentions, Ippani Tanaimel Konden. Min Oli Kanam Indre Pogin. I am leaving now. And he is mentioning, I am taking your leave also. Vidayum Konde. He mentions, I will not be returning back at all. So you don't worry that if I come back, will Dasharatha change his mind or you will change your mind. There is no scope for those things at all. So I will be meeting you only after 14 years. So that is what he is mentioning here. Min Olir Kanam Indre Pogindre Vidayum Konde. The way the Pasuram comes to an end. And immediately from Kaikeyi's Anthapuram, Ramchandra Prabhu leaves. So when he is leaving, he has Lakshmana Advar next to him. But in Kausalya's Anthapuram, Lakshmana Advar is going to shout, he is going to talk wrong about Dasharatha. He is mentioning that I will be putting Dasharatha in jail, I will be putting Kaikeyi in jail, I am ready to do all those things. I have power to protect if the entire Ayodhya's Sena come and fight against your coronation. All those things are being spoken by him there. But here he doesn't speak a single word. He should have spoken in front of Kaikeyi, right? He is not a person who doesn't dare to speak in front of another person. If you see, Lakshmana is really fond of doing that. And when he is speaking to Sugriva also, he doesn't hesitate or doesn't think that whether it will hurt him or not. Those thoughts are not there. His only concern is Ramachandra Prabhu. But that being the case, he should have spoken here, right? But he never speaks here. Even in Valmiki Ramayana, even in Kamba Ramayanam, even in Tulsi Ramayanam, Lakshmana doesn't speak here at all. Because he is captivated by the quality of Rama. How can a person react in this way for this situation? So he has been stopped there. Yesterday he told that Tol Kandar, Tole Kandar, right? So on seeing Ramachandra Prabhu's beauty, they were mesmerized. Here, Lakshmana gets the opportunity and bhagyam to feel Ramachandra Prabhu's guna. So he is just standing there. So he is still in that mood. So when Ramachandra Prabhu comes to Kausalya of Anthapuram, then he comes out from that room where he is having that darshan of Ramachandra Prabhu's face and his quality. So Lakshmana doesn't speak here at all. And Ramachandra Prabhu is coming out from that Kaikeyi's Anthapuram, and while crossing from that Anthapuram to Kausalya's chamber, that is the place where the coronation is going to happen. So So he has to cross that Sabha and only reach Kausalya's chamber. And he's seeing everything. Ramchandra Prabhu is seeing everything. He sees all the arrangements that are being made. He sees all the rishis who are waiting there. He sees all the people who are celebrating Ramchandra Prabhu's coronation that is going to happen. So all these things he sees, and nothing changes his mind or nothing affects him. He sees everything and nothing affects him, and immediately, since he is going to be made the king according to those people, they bring Chatram, Chamaram, his bodyguards, his security, everyone are following him. Immediately he stops them. He says that is not, I am not a person for that now. So since he is going to the forest, and the way in which he conveyed to Kaikeyi, he says, I am leaving now. That being the case, how can he have Chatram, how can he have Chamaram? So all those respects are not there for him because he is not the king now. So with that thought, he is stopping all of them, and he is going to Kaikeyi's chamber, Kausalya's chamber. When he is going there, two people are following Ramchandra Prabhu in the front, and one person is following Ramchandra Prabhu in the front, and another person is following Ramchandra Prabhu in the back. The person who is following him in the front is fate, and the person who is following at the back is dharma. So this is a comparison by Kamba. He says the person who is, because fate is pushing him, pulling him to the forest. And what Dharma Devata is doing, Dharma Devata is holding Ramachandra Prabhu's feet and stopping him in sins. So this is the comparison. Kulaikindra kavarindri kotta venkudayum endri idaikindra vidhi. So vidhi is fate. Idaikindra vidhi mun sella dharmam pin irangi ega. So dharmam with folded hands, dharmam is following Ramachandra Prabhu. So the fate is the person who is so brave now. So the fate is even so brave and powerful to pull Ramachandra Prabhu also. So Idaikindra vidhi mun sella dharmam pin irangi ega. So he mentions that dharma with folded hands, and it is following Ramachandra Prabhu. So what expression that Kamba Namadwaar wants to convey here is that Dharma Devatai is not liking Ramachandra Prabhu going to the forest. Why Rama is going to the forest? To protect and save Dharma. Dharma Devata is having a thought that by sending Ramachandra Prabhu to the forest, why should I be protected? What is the need to protect me, Prabhu, by you going to undergo all these hardships in the forest? So it is not at all needed. So you stay back. Whatever happens to me, let it happen. So you don't worry about me. I am worried about your hardships that you are going to face in the forest. So you please don't go. So Ekindra vidhi mun sella dharmam pin irangi ega madaikundram anayan mouli kavandanan varum endru tadaikindra ullattu annal mun oru amiyan sendran. When he went to Kaikeyi's chamber, there are a lot of people who are following Ramachandra Prabhu. But when he is coming to Kausalya's chamber, Kausalya is seen from the balcony. And for a prince, he will be having a crown, right? Ramachandra Prabhu has left that crown also, and he is walking. So he is not wearing any crown. And he has dropped all his ornaments also there. So everything has been dropped and no one is following him. So immediately Kausalya has a doubt that Ramachandra Prabhu, she felt that Ramachandra Prabhu will be coming after finishing coronation. So she made all the arrangements for that. But now when Ramachandra Prabhu is coming, he is coming alone. So Tauru Tamiyan Sendra. So this is the way he is entering Kausalya's chamber. So with that we will complete today. Janaki Kanta Smaranam Jai Jai Rama Rama Anjaneya Swami Ki Jai Sadguru Maharaj Ki Jai Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare